unlimited. Right now, I am free, I am unlimited. There are no more chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, I am free, I am unlimited. There are no more chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, I am free, I am unlimited. There are no more chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, I am free, I am unlimited. Right now. If this life is one act, why do we lay all these traps? We put them right in our path when we just want to be free. I will not waste my days making up all kinds of ways to worry about all the things that will not happen to me. So I just let go of what I don't know. So I just let go of what I know I don't know. So I just let go of what I know I don't know. And I know I only do this by Godspeed, Cindy Lou.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm living in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind. I got peace in my heart, I got peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. Living in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind. I got peace in my heart, peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. Come on, I'm living in the moment, I'm living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind. I got peace in my heart, I got peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. We're already home.
Thank you for sharing that song. Cindy touched many hearts. And why don't we light our unity candle in memory of Cindy, Dick Maddox, and for all our great teachers and friends that have gone before us, gone home and going to welcome us someday. It was a privilege to know both of them. They lived the unity principles in their lives. Thank you, God. My My name is Reverend Faye Ann Schmidt. I am the Associate Minister here at Unity of Chattanooga, and I feel very blessed to be with you today, to share this time, to know the Spirit is alive and well in each of us. And we bring that power with us now. That power that God gives in opening up our hearts and our minds to greater things, expanding us in ways that we didn't realize we could even be. And when we set our intentions to go out in the world and do God's will, we open up a greater door to walk through. To know that we do not have to fear because we are unlimited, that God is with us, guiding us, directing us. All we have to do is take that step. At this time, we leave the past behind. We gained knowledge and wisdom. And now we set our intentions for the holiest of all things we can do. God, your will be done in my life. I surrender myself to know that you will use me in the most powerful way that you can use me. That as I set my goals and intentions, that I know that the highest consciousness will come into play. For this I am so grateful. Follow your path, your ways, and so it is. Amen. Unity was started as a prayer ministry, and so we open our service with prayer. And if you go to Unity Village and you go to Myrtle's grave, 100 years after she raised herself up and went home, you can still feel her prayer presence. And next to the Fillmore Chapel is this very small Myrtle Chapel with 6 chairs. And you can still feel her presence, her prayer. It's a privilege to be able to pray together. And I'm so grateful that you're here and that I'm here. I want to thank Landis for his musical talents and sharing them with us, and Reverend Doug, who's our speaker today, for joining us. I'm so grateful. I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us here in this in-service. And for you folks that are out there on live stream, hello. We're so glad you're joining us. Make a comment in the comment section. Let us know you're here. And that share button. If you know somebody whose message, our Unity message, will touch, share it with them. We never know what doors we can open or who we can open them for. So just share it. I'm I'm going to turn this back over to Landis because he has another wonderful song. I just love his heart. He just, and that smile, and the laugh, I love it. And then Doug is going to come up and he's going to talk today on, it's the second part of his series, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Reverend Dr. Edwene Gaines wrote the book, and we know Edwene and love her and bless her too. So thank you for joining us today.
I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. The sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, believe and receive it. God will perform it today. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. The sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. I believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Here we go. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of the way. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. Anticipate a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. Anticipate a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. I manifest a miracle every day. God will make a way out of a way. Believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, believe and receive it. God will perform it today.
Wow. Yeah. That's the title for today's talk. Sky is the limit. And God will perform it today. It doesn't get any better than that. Oh, man. Well, isn't this great?
Yes.
No trains in the background. You know, no bicyclers going by.
Spiders?
Spiders.
Right.
Yeah, spiders. Well, the person who found this and set this up is Penny. So, Penny, we want to thank you for your help. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's great. And one other thing I want to show you. See this beautiful tapestry right here?
Yes.
Okay. That was made by none other than Anna Hernandez. Anna, just raise your hand. In 2012, many, many years ago, and we still have it, we still honor it, and thank you so much for being here this morning. Yeah, boy, what a great day. What a great day. Oh, and you mentioned Cindy Lou Harrington. You know, Cindy Lou, for many years, was a guest musician for us at Unity of Chattanooga. She performed, she sang the national anthem down for the Braves. She had several CDs, and she was just an absolutely wonderful presence. And I would always call her up in the middle of the week and tell her what the topic that I was going to talk about. And she said, okay, and she'd show up, hadn't done a thing, and so we'd sit down. She said, well, so tell me again what you're going to talk about. and I'd give her a couple little snippets, and she'd just come out with something perfect every single time. You know, so yeah. So, anyways, we want to honor Cindy Lou, who recently passed. So, well, 2 weeks ago, when I was with you at the Tennessee River Park, I talked about prosperity because after all, we want to feel good about ourselves, and feeling prosperous is about that feeling. And I started by basing the talk and today's talk and some upcoming talks on Edwene Gaines' book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, which is right up here in case you'd like to take a look at it later. It's an easy read. It's both funny and it's spot on spiritually. And it's a book that's readily available so you can follow along if you want to get it, and perhaps gain even some more insight from additional material that obviously I don't have time to mention. Now, Edwene was a Unity minister, and until recently had a retreat center down in Mentone, Alabama, where she gave seminars and classes on a variety of spiritual topics, including prosperity. And Edwene said prosperity was 4 things. Number 1, a vitally alive physical body to provide a comfortable worldly home for the spiritual beings that we are. And number 2, relationships that are satisfying, nurturing, honest, and work all the time. Number 3, work that we love so much it's not work, it's play. And of course, all the money we can spend. That's pretty good. So how do we achieve that? Well, she describes 4 spiritual laws, which, if followed, will not only create these aspects in our life, but transform us in the process. And that's the key. It's not just following the steps, it's what happens internally. Now, the first law is tithing, giving 10% of your financial income or your first fruits to where you're spiritually fed. And as we mentioned last time, tithing is a discipline for learning and practicing the greater spiritual law of giving and receiving that all great master teachers recommend. It's about putting God first in your life, opening the door through your conscious actions of giving, and experiencing God's abundance flowing through that door to you. Given it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing in your lap, the Master said. So once you've started that process, most people find that their life gets a lot easier. And some of that might be because you've taken conscious control of your finances, you've focused on God, and you start feeling some inspiration coming through you. You start letting go of things that really don't serve you very well. And it's also the peace and reassurance of a Heavenly Father working silently in your behalf. And after all, as Emerson said, you can't outgive God. So what happens is once you get your finances under control, there's a certain amount of stability that seems to come into your life, devoid of financial stresses and strains. And when that happens, the next logical step for most of us is to wonder, well, that's all taken care of. What do I really want? What do I want to bring into my life? What do I want to experience? What things can I create? And that's where Edwene's second law comes into play. Her second law is setting goals. Now, the last time I talked, several people came up and criticized me for saying that there are 4 spiritual laws of prosperity, and you only talked about the first one and didn't even mention the other 3. Shame on you. So, as a sneak preview, once you've stabilized your material life with tithing and through the law of giving and receiving, and learned how to set and achieve clear-cut goals, which we'll talk about today, you'll have noticed that sometimes these goals appear blocked, that sometimes something seems to be standing in the way of your greater good. Well, the third law of prosperity is forgiveness, which is the practice of becoming self-aware of your own thoughts and consciousness to the point where you begin to notice old thoughts, beliefs, and perhaps some grudges that are still there. Just like the rust and the corrosion and the sediment that builds up in a pipe and restricts its flow. You know, these old thoughts and behaviors tend to constrict the more positive flow of abundance in your life. And lastly, once you've done your inner work and started to consciously create and manifest a greater life, the fourth law of prosperity is all about finding your divine purpose, becoming the child of God that you are intended to be. But for today, let's talk about setting goals. Edwene says goal setting is looking honestly at where you are, then choosing where you want to be, and then setting a clear and deliberate intention to go there. Doing so focuses you on living consciously rather than unconsciously. So, step number 1 is to be very clear about what you want. If it's a material thing, such as a car, what make, what model, what amenities does it have, what color, both exterior and interior. Create a picture of what you want. And then what are you willing to give, do, or pay for the car? Remember that it's got to be an equally agreed upon transaction. So find a picture of it somewhere and put it in a place where you'll see it every day. Imagine yourself driving it. Or better yet, if it's a new car or a used one that's available, take it for a test drive or rent one for a few days. But the whole idea is to keep the image and the feeling alive in your mind every day. That's the practice of the law of mind action, engaging your mental picture and the feeling you attach to it, and knowing that the law of attraction will bring it to you. Now, in the early 70s, the oil embargo had just hit. Gas prices had skyrocketed, and I was driving a relatively large Ford station wagon with a big V8 whose gas appetite I could no longer afford. So what I wanted was a small, sporty, 2-door hatchback with bucket seats, front-wheel drive, great gas mileage, 4-speed stick shift, and a nice throaty exhaust sound to it, you know, nice and sporty. Oh yes, and dark blue. The problem was, I was a car guy even back then, and I didn't know of a car like that had all those characteristics. But what I did know were the laws of thought. And so I held an image of it, and I just absolutely knew I would find the right and perfect car. So as I'm driving in town one day, it just all of a sudden out of the corner of my eyes, whoa, what was that? Stopped, pulled around, went in, and there was the car. It was called a Simca, by the way, if anybody ever remembers it. Okay. It was made in France, and it was just imported by Chrysler Corporation. And it was the first 2-door front-wheel drive hatchback in the country, very first one. It was low mileage, it was used, so the price was affordable to me. Had bucket seats, had a 4-speed, and it was dark blue. And on the way home, I hit a pothole, the muffler fell off, so I got this nice throaty roar to it. Oh, the moral of that story is keep your pictures tidy. So number 2, do you have a number of things that you want? Really? So make a list of those things. Prioritize them in a list of importance to you. Put dates on the items when you want to have them or have them appear in your life. Read that list several times each day, most importantly in the morning and before you go to bed at night. And make a treasure map of those things. Now, what's a treasure map? Well, it's a large piece of cardboard, or it can be small, whatever you want to do, and cut out pictures in magazines or get them off the internet, hopefully with a color printer. You know, you want to make them nice and colorful. Put those pictures around with something kind of in the center, and put that treasure map somewhere where you will see it every single day. And just like Reverend Ike used to say, you can look at that and say, that's for me. Treasure maps. Number 3, act as if you have already achieved your goals. If you want a new home, go talk to a realtor, look around. If you want to get married, start looking for places where the ceremony could be held. Create a vacuum for it. If it's new clothes, create a space in the closet. If it's a new car, make space in the garage. Maybe park the old one outside. If it's a new relationship or a spouse, make sure there's room in the house for them. Okay? Create a vacuum. You know, years ago, I had just been hired by a West Coast company with several plants, and I was coming in as the industrial engineer to help them become more productive and efficient. And early on, it was obvious that they needed a better production scheduling and inventory control system. And I found a seminar series in the area that taught and certified people in that very discipline. So I thought, well, I'll go to those classes, many classes. I'll become certified, I'll take the test, and then I'll have the knowledge to come back and implement these types of things. I really wanted to go, but the president of the company would not approve the $2,500 price tag that it cost. I didn't quite have that much money at the time. This was quite a while ago. But the president assured me that I had everything that it took to be helpful and to help solve this problem. Thank you very much. He didn't want to spend the $2,500. And so undeterred, I went to the first class anyway with the intention of becoming certified. Now, at one point, they announced that if someone would volunteer to organize the book desk and sell books during the breaks, they could have the whole series for free. Well, that's me. I was the first guy with the hands up. I came out and I said, I will absolutely do it. So I got the classes and eventually the full certification for free and all the books to read because I had to pack them up, take them home, and bring them back every week for the next class. Act as if you've already achieved your goal. Number 4, don't tell anybody else about it. Keep your goals private between you and God. Because, quite simply, you don't want somebody raining on your parade, and there's always somebody who's going to squash it and say something negative about it. But if you do have a prayer partner, and that prayer partner is supportive of the things that you want to do, by all means, engage their support. Number 5, consider what changes you might need to make in order to achieve your goals. Pray about it, meditate on it, and listen for the answer. And if there's some guidance in those meditations, by all means follow that guidance to the best of your ability. Now, years ago, when I was a full-time minister, a couple came to me for help with their business, which was facing some hard times and a possible bankruptcy. And since I had a former business career, they were asking for my advice about how to deal with the bank, who in their mind was being totally unreasonable just because they couldn't pay the, well anyways. After listening to their story, I asked them about their prayer practice, and they looked at me, deer in the headlights. You could almost hear their thoughts. Are you kidding? Is that all you've got? But I assured them that I was serious, and I recommended that they take the issue to prayer, and we did a prayer there as an example, and asked for a solution that works for everybody. What? You mean the bank too? Yes, I mean the bank too. It has to work for everybody. Well, they kind of hung their heads and had their tail between their legs, but they reluctantly agreed to try it. And several days later, I received a call. And it seems that the woman had had a dream of an old business partner who might be able to help. So when she woke up, she took a few minutes, actually it took her maybe an hour, hour and a half. She looked him up after many years, made a phone call, and in that phone call, he offered them a plan to resolve the bank issue in such a way that they could eventually save their business. Completely legal, he had some extra money, he was willing to do all that. And I can tell you, I still know those people today, and today their business is not only still active, it is absolutely thriving. God has a way if you're willing to listen and you're willing to follow through. God will do it today, right? Yes. So the sky is unlimited. Number 6, remember always that whatever you want to experience or bring into your life, it's for the highest good of all. No revenge thoughts, no revenge goals, no getting even. Remember, that energy always flows through you, okay? So if you're going to do somebody else harm, what's going through you? What's going to show up? And whatever you want or want to achieve, be committed and begin it. I want to read you a poem by N.W. Murphy. Here's what he says. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamt would come his way. Whatever you do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. I was talking with Fayanne just before the service today, and one of the things that's always difficult for me is coming up with a Sunday talk. And I usually have some idea of what I'm going to talk about, and then everything begins to swirl, and I have, for whatever reason, this resistance to sit down and actually start doing it. When I was in ministerial school one time, one of my roommates was kind of running around, and I said, Bill, it's Saturday. What are you doing? And he says, well, I'm trying to do everything I can before writing my talk, get away from it. The whole key thing, and this is very clear, the moment I make a decision and sit down and actually start writing the first few things, it doesn't have to be the beginning, it doesn't have to be in order, just start putting some thoughts down. Boom, there it is. And I've had times when I would come up to some area that I wanted, some point that I wanted to make, and a thought would come in with this book. Okay, I'll look on my bookshelf. Well, there's the book. I'll open it to the exact paragraph, the exact page, and there it is. I can tell you, if you have something that you want to do or create, begin it, start it. All kinds of help will come and assist you. And lastly, be prepared to get some spiritual advice and insight along the way as to why you want certain things, and realize that your goals may change over time. Kathy Ann Lewis was the minister of a large religious science church in Seattle, and she wanted a shiny, new, sporty red Corvette with a big engine. Now, she was a lively, vivacious person in heart anyway, so it kind of seemed to fit. But everyone around her told her that it wasn't practical for her. Corvettes cost way too much money for her salary, and she just could not afford it. Well, Kathy Ann was well-versed in the laws of thought, and she wanted that shiny, new, sporty red Corvette with a big engine, so she went about it. And shortly thereafter, she came across a nearly new, shiny red Corvette at an extremely low price and very favorable terms due to the salesman's connection through one of her congregants. You see how God works in these situations. She bought it, drove it to the church, amazed everyone, and absolutely loved it for a while. And then she began to notice that she couldn't take all of her friends to lunch in it. I mean, after all, it's a two-seater. And it really wasn't all that comfortable. And it was a little too loud. And that big engine was forever spinning the wheels on the always wet Seattle roads. Okay, Lord, what's this all about? Well, she took it to prayer and meditation. After all, she was a religious science minister. And what she discovered about herself was that she was having trouble with her board. And what she really wanted was more zip and control in her life, a louder voice, more recognition, and what she said goes. And those feelings outpictured as a shiny red Corvette. I think it's what psychologists might call projection. You see, the point is we are on a spiritual journey, and learning to be creative beings is part of that. Prosperity in all its forms is a worthwhile and a necessary pathway, knowing how to create a better life for yourself and be a benefit for all concerned. But the goal is always self-improvement through self-awareness. Now, that's the preliminaries. That's what you might hear from most prosperity classes. Now for the good stuff. The one thing that's going to make all the difference. Mahatma Gandhi observed this. He said, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. And we know that our silent thoughts and feelings are powerful attractors to the circumstances and situations in our life. But it's the power of our spoken words that give energy to our thoughts, greatly multiplying the creative and attractive or repulsive force. If we focus and speak positively about what it is that we seek and achieve, we'll take rapid steps towards its accomplishment with help from unseen hands. But if we complain and scoff, if we resist, the good that could have been ours will never materialize, and it will pass us by. Everybody remembers the Exodus story in the Bible, okay? Moses led the Hebrews out of a life of bondage in Egypt and into the desert with a promise of a better life, only to face many other hardships along the way. And the people constantly complained, and in the Bible that's called murmuring. What that really means is bitching, crabbing, and complaining. Okay. When Moses went up on Mount Sinai for the commandments, they complained even more and reverted to idol worship. And when they finally reached the promised land, they sent out scouts, and all but 2 of those scouts came back complaining about how difficult it would be. And the people once again continued to complain and resist. A decision was then made that due to their complaining, they would not, in fact, enter the promised land, but rather wander in the desert
until the entire generation passed away. And later it was Joshua, one of the 2 scouts who returned with a positive report and interpretation of their ability to go into Canaan, who led the people forward. What we can understand from the story is that the spiritual journey has worldly hardships inherent in it. It's not easy to enter into what we call Christ consciousness, or the promised land flowing with milk and honey that God has in store for us, or even to achieve some worthwhile worldly goals. But what determines our progress is how we face those difficulties. Do we use the spiritual tools of prayer and faith that we've been taught? Or do we crab and complain and expect someone else to make the path easier for us? By the way, politicians have a field day with that. I can do all things, or vote for me, right? In the end, it's our own complaining and resistance that prevents us from gaining that promised land, or the kingdom of heaven as Jesus often referred to it, or even achieving modest goals. The ones who do achieve it are the ones who use the tools that they've been given, whether consciously or unconsciously. They have faith in a power greater than themselves and consistently have a positive attitude and verbal description of the conditions that they see. Now, Edwene Gaines tells a funny story in her book. Early in her life, she'd been in a Unity church for a solid 3 months, and of course, according to her, knew everything by that time, and felt that the church business was God's business and it needed to be done first class. So she took her lengthy list of what was wrong and needed to be done better to the minister. Here's what she says. This great, high, holy teacher patiently listened to my long litany of complaints. And then he said, Edwin, dear, for you today, the highest metaphysical law in the universe is, don't bitch. Needless to say, Edwene was taken back, by the comment, but she took it to prayer, and she heard that still small voice say to her, you should pay attention to what he said. So Edwene had heard that psychologists say that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. So she made a 21-day calendar, posted it on the refrigerator, and committed to herself that for the next 21 days, she would not gossip, criticize, or complain to others or to herself, no matter what. Here's her very words. Now, I had always thought of myself as a wonderful conversationalist, always ready for some witty repertoire, and that I always had interesting and entertaining things to discuss with the people around me. But for the next 21 days, I could not think of a single thing to say. During that time, I took a really good look at Edwene, and I was not very tickled with what I saw. I was a poisoner who was poisoning my own environment with gossip. I saw that I was a murderer because sarcasm is murder, criticism is murder. Gossip and criticism create a powerfully negative energy that really pollutes everything around you. But then, after some time had passed, I found that I had all sorts of new energy pouring into me. And I began to experience the joy that comes with praising and saying good things about other people and appreciating more of what I had in my own life. And with this new joy came a great sense of power. I got to experience what it feels like to be a truly powerful person. Edwene spoke at our church many times in the 2000s, and she would always get up about 5'2" with that big hair, and she'd look out at us and say, my name is Edwene Gaines, and I am a woman of power. She knew what she was talking about. You see, the guard dog of our thoughts is watching what we say. Complaining and criticism are spiritual suicide because it not only focuses our attention on what we don't want, thus energizing those thoughts and drawing the very thing to us, but it also energizes those thoughts with the power of the spoken word, drawing those things to us even faster. By learning to observe what we say and to curb our tongues, we learn to mold our thoughts, set positive goals, and rapidly achieve them. When we focus on what we want to do in our life and let our thoughts, words, and actions go out in that direction only, we become very, very powerful attractors of those very things. Well, there's a lot more that we could say about creating the life we've imagined, which we'll talk a little bit more about with Shannon and I and Wednesday's Faith Live. But for now, let's just take a few quiet moments and reflect on some of these thoughts. And as we go within, I'm reminded simply of an ideal, a greater life. And just like a treasure map, I see that greater life surrounded with all kinds of good. From the health that I enjoy, the wonderful people who come into my life with positive, reassuring behaviors and thoughts. A certain amount of material abundance. And so I relax. Take a deep breath. And I simply say, as Reverend Ike often quipped, that's for me. I have no complaints about the journey of my life so far. There have been difficulties. There's been rough times. There's been things I would do differently. But for now, I simply know that it was all those things that brought me to today. All those things that today allow me to appreciate the gift of God active in my life. So as I go forward from today, as we join ourselves hand in hand, heart to heart, we know that each person's dream is also our dream, and our dreams are their dreams for a greater life, life filled with spiritual guidance, material abundance, wonderful relationships, and yes, Edwene, all the money we can spend. And so for this and for so much more, we are so grateful. Thank you, God. So it is. Amen. And so this is the time in our service when we get to practice the law of giving and receiving. So I would encourage you to take your gifts in your hands, and today we can actually have ushers. So as the ushers, one usher, that's all right. I'm reminded once again of Reverend Ike. He said the best thing you can do for the poor, don't be one of them. And so join with me in our tithing statement. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I receive in abundance.
Flow, Spirit flow through me as as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
We can sing it again as you write those checks.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
So we give thanks for these tithes and these offerings going forth to bless each and every person within the sound of our voices and the thoughts that we hold. We give thanks to God, knowing that they go forth to bless the vision and the ministry of Unity of Chattanooga. And so it is. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Reverend Doug, for the message. Easy that I can follow it. And thank you, Landis, for joining us today. It's always so good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And And now for our announcements. On Sunday morning, 9:30, we have a great small group, a very powerful group of people that have a meditation practice, and that's at 9:30 on Zoom. So if you want to join us, please do so. Just go to our website and you'll see the information posted there to join us. And Wednesday, about 4 o'clock, that's real important, about 4 o'clock, Shannon, our board president, and Reverend Doug have a conversation about anything spiritual, and you can call in, right? People can call in with questions, comments, so it's very interactive, so please do that. It's a lot of fun. And sometimes we think church and it's like real stiff, but this is loose. These guys are loose. If you like loose in church and spirituality, tune in on Wednesday about 4. And it's also archived, so you can catch it later if you're not able to join. We are focusing on a place of our own. It's nice to be able to gather, and it's nice when we can have, again, a place that is ours, that we can meet every Sunday, and we can have classes and Sunday school for the kids and all the things that we like to do to gather and support each other. And so we have started a fund. We want to reach that $10,000 goal to put us in a place that is ours. So if you can, on the website where it says donations, it now has a place that says other, and there are several things you can choose from, and the building fund is in there. So this is in addition to your regular tithe, and we have a little over $1,400 in that account right now. Yes, that's good. And so if it's a small donation, a large donation, and there's also a box on the table by the back door. If you want to put some money in that, we would appreciate it. All of it grows this fund. We have a current outreach program for the homeless, and Shannon goes and takes toiletries and different things that they need and meets with them and passes passes on a little a unity, a positive message, of hope. So please bring to the in service those items, and there's a place on the back table for that. Next Sunday, I'm excited about next Sunday. We have Reverend Justin Epstein, who is the senior minister at Unity Center of New York City. And Justin was the young minister coming on board with Eric Butterworth years, and he and Eric would have a lunch once a week, and Eric would teach him about ministry and about answer his questions and stuff. He is a live fire, and Justin is great. At the annual conventions out of Kansas City, I've attended a couple of his workshops. He is just fabulous. So you're going to enjoy listening to Reverend Justin Epstein next week. In closing, let's join together for our prayer of protection. If you want to stand, stand. If you want to join, as we join together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever God is, all is well. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. This has really been fun to have this in person and see faces and faces of friends. And stay for food afterwards. We're going to have some treats here. So let's join together and bless you. Bless our love song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, in oneness all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I know, I should.
Well, no, but it's me trying to keep it in the habit.